Oh, when we're getting close.
There we go.
It's on. Katrina, do you want to put that into the document? Do you want me
I
to?
did. Uh-huh. Yeah, I put it in the background.
Look at how efficient you are. I love it.
It's great.
Well, I had 6 minutes to kill, you know. Got to make them count. Oh, geez. All right. So shall I introduce you?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So her name is Soliana. We're going to call her Soli for the purposes of our discussion. She's technically a newcomer. She came to the United States with her family from Ethiopia 3 weeks before school started.
Okay.
Her country of origin is Eritrea, and her home language is Tigrinya, one I'm not familiar with.
I'm not either.
She lives with her mother, an older sister who's in 9th grade, a younger brother who's in 2nd grade, and a younger brother who is in kindergarten, and Soli is in the 4th grade.
Okay.
She did receive some education, and some of that was in English before coming here, but I was told that the English instruction was not provided by a native English speaker. So she's got some English, but it's not great English, is kind of what I got out of that. Based on the WIDA placement or however they figured this out, because I didn't see the actual test results, but I just saw her classification as not English proficient level 1. So
okay,
that is Soli. And this assignment, I actually think the CLD teacher had her do this for my benefit. It's called Scary Story, and it starts out kind of like a story because she talks about it's nighttime and people are sleeping and the hyenas come at night and it's howling and I'm sleeping and listening to the hyena. And then it switches over. Well, she says they have sharp teeth. Then she says, I'm so scared. And after that, it's all nonfiction. It's like every fact she's kind of learned about hyena. And almost every sentence starts with hyena.
Right.
And the interesting thing is she spells it about 4 different ways. So, I mean, she starts out with it correct, but then by the end, she's kind of lost.
Right.
She's kind of lost it, but we still know she's talking about the hyena.
I wonder if she's seen hyenas before.
I wonder that too, given that she's from Africa. Stop. The dog had a biopsy, and she's not supposed to be licked where they stitched her up, and the other dog is licking her. Stop it. I'm watching you. I might have to get up and move them. Anyway, so that's her story, and I think, like I said, this was done for my benefit. You know, the CLD teacher was like, hey, you know, write about something you know, or write about, you know, what you know about hyenas. And so this kind of, and this prompt might have been write a story, and then it ended up doing this. But anyway, it was interesting. I was impressed by her ability to write, given that she's not been here that long.
Right.
And then I found out she had had some instruction prior, so then it made sense.
Okay.
So anyway.
I know it's interesting then looking at the sample, you know, for WIDA, Candy, if we'd be looking at count or explain.
I actually liked argue.
Argue, okay.
For writing.
Okay. I didn't,
just only part of it, though. I liked the part about using keywords or phrases related to the topic. Because I kind of felt like, you know, she's starting every sentence the same, but then she's giving us a fact, like every time. Hyenas are strong in the night. They're scared in the day. They eat meat. They don't like plants, you know. That's kind of where I went with that. I tried recount, but I couldn't really see anything that fit.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if like listing positive and negative effects of events in informational or narrative text might be, because this is kind of listing some.
Yeah, it's definitely listing positive and negative.
Mm-hmm. But that's where I ended right there.
Right.
Because the one above it doesn't go with it, so.
Yeah.
The
listing
only thing we're looking at is that level 1, you know, because if we did argue, definitely that level 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because after that you have to list pros and cons or state reasons for your point of view, and she doesn't have any of that at this point in English, anyway.
No. So, do you think we should go with argue then, or explain also?
Well, I didn't print explain. Tell me what explain says at level 1.
For right.
And of course, your voice cuts out right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Okay. Level 1, key use of explain writing, level 1, producing short answer responses to questions using word or phrase banks and labeling charts and graphs to describe phenomena.
Right.
Like
okay.
Organisms or ecosystems. The second one is, the second level is using key terms related to phenomena and ordering linear and cyclical sequences of phenomena. So that's out.
I think the first thing you said in level 1, the
producing short answer responses to questions using word.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like if you said, what do hyenas eat? She could produce hyenas eat people and meat.
Right. That's true.
I feel like she could do that based on this writing.
And I'm even looking at the level 3 of explain. I mean, not that it's totally there completely, but I like the connecting related ideas. And, you know, I know it's using linking words, but I like that she is connecting a related idea and topic and just, you know, forming that into nonfiction, but also is using it for fictional writing, you know, what she knows in a story as well. So, I mean, I like that, but I don't know if she's done level 2.
Right.
And what I've noticed on the group that I checked today to see which verbs they were using, they're doing all the different, like, not all of them, but they're not just doing one key use, and they're doing in different levels whatever they. But I didn't know that. I thought we were supposed to.
Sorry.
Stick with maybe, you know, one within each, you know, or I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I'm comfortable with having her at a solid 1.
Right.
But I want to support it with the WIDA can-dos. And I'm looking back at I mean, we could even say that, okay, I'm not communicating well at all. So under recount, I assume, and I know that's dangerous when we're looking at evidence, that she can communicate personal experiences through drawings and words. And I say that because she's kind of got this fictional thing going. I don't know, maybe this actually happened to her. You know, she's sleeping in her house or her, I don't know what they live in, you know, and she can hear something howling and, you know, she's laying in bed listening to it.
And those are weird sounds that they make.
Yeah. Ellen, were you saying level 2 listing positive and negative events?
Yes. Now the one that was right above it was the listing procedural steps
across
content areas.
Yeah.
But then the one under it, listing positive and negative events, effects of events in information or narrative text. I felt like she was giving positive and negative.
And she's making a list.
Effect.
I feel like if this assignment was list the positive and negative about hyenas, you know, or the characteristics or whatever. I mean, she talks about like and don't like, you know, so I mean, she could do it that way.
Right.
I like the idea of maybe saying that she's at a solid level 1, but she's showing some movement into level 2 and then listing this one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we didn't look at the procedural steps across content areas,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think she would be a solid 2, and I'm even thinking she's approaching that 3 because she's using keywords and phrases. You know, she has the main idea to her story, and she's using keywords reflective of that.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And I don't think we've decided really if they need to, you know what I mean, be the check. You know, we need to check off each detail on the can-dos.
Yeah.
Because with the purpose of the assignment, sometimes you don't know.
Right.
If it covers the other detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the other thing is
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that her rating came at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And
she slowly has made growth. I mean,
that's what I'm thinking. I would like to list out on our form under argue that she's definitely using the keywords and phrases.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because that's under entering for argue, but it's under developing for recount.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting.
Well, I think with argue, you know, you expect that justification piece, right? The explanation, the reasons behind it. I think when it comes to counting, you know, you're not expecting as much. So sure, that is a level 2 skill.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. That made sense.
Who's our note taker, by the way? Is that you, Stephanie? Okay. So what do we think? Like overall, where would we rate her? Because she's kind of scattered, really.
Right.
Yes, but I think if she thinks of it as a story, or if that was the umbrella of the assignment, a story, then I think recount. I think I'm going to go ahead and put, you know, what we've had to say about argue and explain, but I think the purpose of the assignment was a story, so I think that's under, you know, recount.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Are you okay with level 2 just because she is showing signs of that, the keywords and phrases, and even conveying details? I mean,
that's what I was just going to say. She's
reading on them, but there are details in here.
Right.
There are details. There's not like adjectives and stuff, you know, but she does have a nice back and forth between, like, she's doing opposites, you know.
And she's not just giving 3-word sentences. I mean, like, hyena is good. The hyena like grass or don't like, or whatever, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I almost want to say 3, honestly. When you
put it that way, I think that I agree with that.
You know, for recount, it may not be there for the other
explainer
uses. I mean, even the very last part, nighttime, everything is close. Why? Because hyena is coming.
Right.
And
I'm good with that. I think
we'll go with 3.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you look at those descriptors there, she does, you know, her story covers both. She was able to do both of those things, along with some in each of the, you know, level 2 and then even level 1. So
and we don't see the transitional words and the synthesizing required of level 4 at all. You know, it's a nice list, but it's not really a sequence. I do kind of like the creepy setting. People are sleeping. The hyena is coming, you know. Everything is closed. Why? Because he's coming. I'm so scared.
I like how she spelled it.
I know. I was like, really? Of all the options, that's what you came up with. Okay.
I know we kind of skipped over Ellen's part. Sorry, Ellen.
That's okay. You want to go ahead?
But I was just thinking about it, you know, like, what does it fall under?
That's okay.
Off we went.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I can go right now. And I just thought I'd just go over the 12 verb tenses quickly, giving a little sample. And okay. So
And you
the
might
first,
even skip the ones that say ELLs don't use these a lot, because there were a couple.
okay,
They're like, don't even bother
write that?
teaching this, spend your time elsewhere type of thing.
Right. Do you have that written on here? Because I don't remember now. We'll just go. We'll just go. Okay. All right. The first is simple present tense, and the form is either verb or verb plus S for he, she, and it. The question would be do or does plus subject and verb. Do you guys want me to give example sentences?
Maybe one real quick.
How many pens does each person need? The negative do or does plus not plus verb, and contractions are possible. Houses do not always have a dining room, or houses don't always have a dining room. The ESL error here would be including B. Every day I am work here. Okay, and the issue is students learn I am, you are, he is, etc. so well that they unconsciously form of be after the subject pronoun. Some of the mistakes: use verb plus S only when the subject is he, she, or it. Third person singular. The example of the wrong way, the error is Laura cook scrambled eggs instead of cook scrambled eggs. Remember to change Y to I and add ES. Do not change Y to I if the vowel precedes it. Wrong. The error is my baby sister cries when she is hungry. Mm-hmm. In Y with a Y instead of IES. And the other error would be do not use be with verbs in simple present tense, like I am walk to school instead of I walk to school every day. Am I going too fast or?
Nope.
No. Okay. The next tense, simple past tense. The form would be verb plus ed. Irregular verbs use different patterns like run, ran, go, went, break, broke. The usages would be a completed action, an activity that took, like I lived in Brownsville in 2000, an activity that took place regularly in the past, like in the 1990s, I took the bus to work almost every day, and a completed action, the temperature fell 10 degrees last night. The question would be did plus subject plus verb. When did you arrive at the meeting? The negative would be did plus not plus verb, and contractions are possible. So the committee did not select a winner or didn't select a winner. The ESL error including B would be yesterday I was work here. So students learn I was, you were, he was, etc. so well that they unconsciously include a form of be after the subject pronoun. Some common ESL errors: don't use verb or verb plus S in the past tense. Don't forget to use ed like cooked, or the irregular form like ate. The error would be Laura cooks scrambled eggs for breakfast yesterday instead of cooked scrambled eggs. The second mistake or error would be do not use was or were with verbs to express simple past tense. The error would be I was walk to school instead of I walked to school yesterday. The third would be don't forget to change the Y to an I and add ed. My baby sister cried with a Y instead of IED. And also if a verb ends, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, maybe we don't need to do the spelling part.
Okay.
So and then it would be a little faster.
Okay. If a verb ends, but still do the ESL mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If a verb ends in a consonant and vowel consonant in its stressed syllable, don't forget to double the consonant before adding ed. She stopped the car, and she spelled it wrong with just one P. The next tense is simple verb tense. The form is will plus verb. Usages: a prediction about a future event. An example would be the price of gasoline will go up. Okay. And then also decision at the time of speaking, not planned in advance. An agreement to do something. And then question would be will plus subject plus verb. as in will Flight 62 arrive on time or not. The negative would be did plus not plus verb, and contractions are possible. You will not have any gas left over, or you won't. Some errors would be using simple present tense for future tense, as in 5 minutes I return here, please wait. The issue would be it's probably a case of native language interference. Also, another error would be overusing will instead of be going to. Your plans for Friday, and I will have a party. Students have been taught that will means future time, so they use will for every future action. Okay, some common ESL mistakes. Do not use to after will. The error here in this sentence, Andrea will to study more if she has more free time instead of Andrea will study more. Another error mistake would be do not add any endings like SED or ING to verbs after will. Sean will helps instead of will help. Use be going to, not will, instead of will be going to. I need someone to help me with this homework. Can you help me? Okay. The error is sorry, but I can't help you. I will visit my aunt instead of I'm going to visit my aunt. Okay, the next tense is present progressive tense. The form is am, is, or are plus verb plus ing. The usages are an action happening now and a recurring action. The question you would have am, is, are, or are plus subject plus verb plus ing. The cost of the stamp increasing by 10%. Negative would be am, is, or are plus not plus verb, and contractions are possible. For instance, my cats are not sleeping or aren't sleeping. An error would be putting non-action verbs in present progressive, like I am hearing you. Some common ESL mistakes: don't use verb plus s for actions that are happening just now or only once. The incorrect sentence is we study very hard for tomorrow's test instead of we are studying very hard. Don't use ing for actions that happen every day or all the time. The error would the wrong sentence. The sentence that's wrong: the Earth is going around the sun instead of the Earth goes around the sun. And that's all these are really hard because people say these all the time and they don't realize they're saying them wrong. Yeah. Be careful with the spelling of a present participle, cutting, sitting, because instead of doubling the final consonant. Don't use present progressive if the verb does not show an action. Examples of verbs that are rarely are own, possess, love, need, want, have, seem, feel, be, prefer, remember, forget, believe. Like I am owning 2 cars instead of I own 2 cars. The next tense is past progressive tense. The form is was or were plus verb plus ing. And the usages are an action in the past that was interrupted in the past by another action, and a longer past action, an activity that took place over a long time. Question would be, what was the thief hiding? Okay. Let me get these pages turned here. Sorry. Of course, when you want to do it, it won't. Okay. Was and were plus subject plus verb plus ing. Negative was or were plus not plus verb. And contractions are possible, like I was not sleeping when you called me, or I wasn't sleeping when you called me. ESL errors or omitting ing. When I was asleep, someone called me. And using simple past instead of the past progressive. When I slept, someone called me. Some common ESL errors: do not use was or were and a verb without ing to indicate past progressive tense. For instance, when I got my first job, I live in Los Angeles instead of I was living in Los Angeles. 2, don't mix up past progressive tense and simple past tense. Like I cut the onions, then I was putting them in the soup instead of I cut the onions, then I put them in the soup. Also, be careful with the spelling of the present participle and that doubling the final consonant. Don't use past progressive if the verb does not show an action, as opposed to state of being. Examples of verbs that are rarely, and I said that earlier. The future progressive tense, the form is will plus be plus verb plus ing. Usages, an action that begins before another action and will be happening at the point of the time in the future. The question will, if it's a question, will plus subject plus be plus verb plus ing. I'm adding. In the future years from now, where will we be working? The negative, it would be will plus, the form is will plus not plus be plus verb plus ing. And contractions are possible. For example, after this year, the city will not be selling any more annual bus passes or won't be selling anymore. And ESL errors, this tense is rarely used. Okay, there it is. I'm going to present perfect tense. The form have or has plus past participle. I'm looking at it. Let me see. Okay. The usages, an action that happened at an unspecified time in the past, a recent action that is important to a current situation or conversation, an action that began in the past but continues in the present, and repetition of an action before now. Question form, have or has plus subject plus past participle, like where have you worked? Negative form, have or has plus not plus past participle. Correct contractions are possible again. He has not flown, or he hasn't flown on jet 47. I mean, on a 747 jet. ESL error, using present tense for present perfect. I live here since 1995. Some common mistakes: do not forget to use have or has with the past participle for an action that began in the past and still continues. Like I was born here and I will die here. I lived here my whole life. Instead of I was born here and will die here, I have lived here my whole life. Also, do not use have or has with the wrong subject. Sarah have rented the same apartment since 2005. It's and it should be Sarah has rented. Use past participle with present perfect tense. Sarah has already did instead of done all the homework. Okay, the next one is past perfect tense. Had plus past participle. An action that occurred before another. The usages are an action that occurred before another past event or action or time. The question form would be had plus subject plus past participle, like where had you seen this movie before? And the negative form, had plus not plus past participle, and contractions are possible. When the voting office closed promptly at 7 p.m., many citizens had not and also hadn't voted yet. ESL error, using past perfect for a single event, like millions of years ago, dinosaurs had roamed on the planet. Common ESL mistakes. Do not forget to use the past participle after had. The error here, I had work instead of I had worked for the company for almost 20 years. And do not use past tense when past perfect is required. I ate instead of I had eaten dinner when he called. Okay, future perfect tense. We're getting down to it, girls.
This one is not usually used.
This one's not usually used. I'm going to the next. How about present perfect progressive tense?
Okay.
It's okay, right? That one is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The form is have or has plus been plus verb plus ing. Usages, an action that began in the past, has continued into the present, and may continue into the future when a speaker wants to emphasize the duration of an action. And also another usage, a general action in progress recently for which no specific time is mentioned. Okay, and also another usage, an action that began in the past and has just recently ended. The question form, have or has, plus subject, plus been, plus verb, plus ing, as in, why has it been raining so much lately? Negative form, Have or has plus not plus been plus verb plus ing contractions are possible. Many of today's flights have not been or haven't been leaving on time. ESL error, using present progressive tense for present perfect progressive. I am living here since 1995. So some common ESL mistakes here. Do not forget to use have or has with been followed by the present participle. As in, I've been waiting instead of I have been waiting for the bus for almost 45 minutes. Do not use present progressive tense on an ongoing action that began in the past, even though it is happening in the present, especially when for or since is used. For instance, I am waiting instead of I have been waiting for the bus for almost 45 minutes. Okay, past, the next tense, past perfect progressive tense.
Not worth talking about. And neither is the last one because it's also rarely used.
All right. Thank you. You did a great job. I mean, it's kind of difficult to review because I need this in my head more. Anyway.
I found it completely overwhelming. Like at first, the little equation seemed really helpful. And then when it got to be this plus that plus the other thing plus this one, I was like, oh, forget it.
I have to, yeah. And see, I never really learned this well in school. So it's hard, especially if I'm just reading it in a book and not doing it, you know.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So
how much time? It's 15 minutes, right? Kind of.
Stephanie, what's our time frame?
Yeah, 6:30.
Okay, that's what I thought I remembered. Okay.
I mean, it's
we can
interesting.
Do it.
The student sample. I mean, is it mostly present progressive? It's that is plus a verb.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of them, like is scared, is. That's one of the ones where it's like using a past tense as an adjective or something that I read.
You're saying I am so scared?
No, I'm saying hyena is scared daytime.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and it should be hyenas are scared of the daytime, right?
Yeah, she doesn't use are at all, and she doesn't pluralize hyena, so those would be like instructional points.
She's using the wrong subject. She's using are and the is with the wrong subject. Right?
Well, we would talk about it as a group of animals, like hyenas are strong, hyenas are scary, hyenas don't like. You could say, the hyena, you could sound like a scientist. The hyena does not like to eat grass and leaves, you know. But I think we probably need to teach the plural S and the R.
Yes.
Although, towards the beginning, where she's kind of doing more of a narrative, and she says hyena is howling, and hyena is nighttime caming. First of all, we need to fix the caming.
Hyenas are coming in the nighttime.
You know, or it might be the hyena is coming. The hyena is howling. I am sleeping and listening to the hyena. And she might mean I am in bed and listening to the hyena, but, you know, not having the vocabulary for that might be why it says she's sleeping. I mean, when I'm sleeping, I'm unconscious, so...
Would it be a good idea to have sentence frames or slots and have her with is and have her choose between is and are to see where each goes, you know?
Yeah, like maybe the blank is blank. What, Stephanie?
I said we have to do a lesson around that since she has not used are at all. We have to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 9th line down. It's that common error with the simple present tense. Hyena like nighttime and black. You know, the hyena likes or hyenas like. You know, it's teaching that plural. and the verb that goes with that. So that would be another little mini lesson that we need to.
There you go.
And then what was the grammar point about like sticking to in there with the progressive ing form? Because you would say hyenas like to eat animals and people, or you would say hyenas like eating, but you can't have to eating.
Mm-hmm. And that was the present.
Was that for present progressive? I don't see to on present progressive, actually.
I think we better just change it to hyenas like eating, because otherwise we're working with, like a gerund when it's like, or well, no. It's more like hyenas like to eat, which is the base form, right? To eat.
Right.
To be, to this, to that.
I was gonna, I was thinking hyenas like eating animals and people.
Or hyenas like to eat.
Eat animals, and yeah, either way. Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I would say I like to eat pizza. I wouldn't really say I like eating pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, I like drinking milk. I would probably say I like to drink milk, or just plain I like milk.
Mm-hmm.
But
sure.
She needs a mini lesson on come and came.
Yes.
I love the caming.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think she would even benefit just like with a one focus, like just even do simple present tense.
Yeah, one at a time.
What is happening? I think because you would have to put that focus, you know, those little blinders on, and just say this is the tense we're going with, and teach how to simply construct present tense, because she uses the is and then uses the verb with ing after the noun or something, you know. It's
so what if
construction of sentences is a little off.
What if we did kind of like a side-by-side sentence thing? I was working with a student today on pronouns, actually, but every little picture prompt was either a boy or a girl, or a man or a woman, doing an action. Mm-hmm. So one option for her to say was, he jumps. The other one was, he is jumping. Mm-hmm. What if we did that side by side with her? You know, the hyena howls. The hyena is howling.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do that on the board, on a chart, or in a sentence? Like,
I might do it where like I would give her one piece, like the hyena howls, and then leave the other side blank. But then on the next line down, say, I don't know, the hyena is eating, and then leave the hyena eats blank. Do you know what I mean? To kind of get her to swap back and forth.
That's a good idea.
Between them. Mm-hmm. Because they're close. I mean, I tend to use the ing form a lot more than I use the what is it, simple present tense with the s.
Right.
You know, because I guess sometimes I say he drives the car, but usually I'm like, he is driving the car. She is sitting on the couch.
Right.
I like that idea of the side by side, though.
I do too. I like it in that it's staggered instead of, you know, and she's in 4th grade. But I like also, Stephanie, that you're saying we need to focus on one.
Yeah.
Only.
Just for her. And then we move on to the next, you know.
Exactly.
Next story, everything's past tense. It already happened. So, you know, maybe that would help with even her have or has had, you know, like that.
So maybe we could set it up so there were 2 lessons. So that one was the S and the ing present forms. And then another lesson on, if it's one, you use is. If it's more than one, you use are.
Right.
Because I think she needs that lesson also. I think she does okay when like the word people means more than one, right? But you don't have to add an S to it. So she does fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If
Right.
hyena meant a group of hyenas, you know,
Right.
but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we set it up so those were like our two targets, but we did them, you can't see my hands, separately.
That's a good idea.
Are you voguing over there, Katrina?
Yeah, no. Definitely not.
I'm also wondering, just for like next steps with her, I'm thinking what I've done in the past with some students is using mentor texts, you know, and imitate those sentences just to have that practice with it, you know, and not having to worry about creating that herself, but just mentor text to imitate and maybe that practice and visuals to go with it. Like you were saying with your students today, using that card of what they are currently doing. Maybe that would be helpful because it would be something that she would start to get ingrained, hopefully, right? To memorize.
For the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
For the patterns, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
How could we make it sensory and interactive as far as those supports go? Like I'm thinking, for example, she jumps. Like you could, you know, think of a bunch of actions that kids can do that you could put the S on. Hops, jumps, skips, rocks, spins, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And have them, you know, she jumps and the person does it one time.
Right.
And then she is jumping and the person just keeps bouncing up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I even like that, Katrina. I mean, if you have her in a small group or with classmates, or you use teachers, you know, and just have them do some sort of action and ask her, what is he doing? He is walking. What is she doing? She is talking.
Yeah.
What is, so just to, you know, play with those verbs and that pattern of it, but having that physical action to connect with it. And then that is interactive. That's using, you know,
you could make
groups.
a little, you know, deck of cards or, you know, find one somewhere with actions like spin, hop, jump, rock, whatever, you know, and to kind of make it so they're not having to think of something to do, or then they come up with something that you can't use that ing with, and then it's awkward, you know, awkward teaching moment where it doesn't work. But if you kind of preset it, what's that?
I like that idea, Katrina, just because then if the focus for the next lesson was past tense or future tense, like you could still use that visual, you know, with a different focus, with different words. But I like.
So it could be like
the less drawing we have to do is great. So that if we can use something with multiple, you know, functions, I think that's.
And you could use realia too, like a broom or whatever. What is she doing? She is sweeping. But
and a hammer. He is hammering or hitting or whatever you wanted to say.
Yeah. No.
You know, scissors, cutting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
writing.
You could bring in objects and have them show you how to use the object and then describe what they are doing. I like that.
Exactly.
Objects would be even more fun than pictures. The benefit of the pictures is you can kind of do a whole body thing.
Right.
But the objects, then you're talking about something very functional. What about interactive supports? I mean, I guess if there's other kids making the same error, you do the mini lesson.
Could you do peer editing?
Ooh, at 4th grade, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're even doing like model text or, you know, imitation sentences, yeah, you can have them work with a partner to check, you know, to confer with one another. Okay, you know, do we have the same? Is it different? How does it compare to the warm-up that's on the board?
And in 4th grade, you could even then, to double check, is have them get together with another pair of students and check each other.
So using some cooperative structures then. Okay. I like that.
It's funny because to me, the graphic support is always the easy part.
Right.
You know, where you're using writing and you're manipulating it and stuff. And then I kind of go outward from there.
I even read something about you can change little song or adapt or personalize little song lyrics. I mean, that would do you'd have to do some thinking there on how to, it'd have to be some.
Lots of bridges falling down.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Ortiz-Gray is jumping up and down. Up and down. We can figure out some sort of tune, and what are we doing?
I could see you doing that with your class.
Yes, you can. I will do it on Monday.
Some of my older kids have asked me to stop singing in therapy. Don't sing. Like, I'm sorry. It just happened.
It makes it more interesting and fun.
And memorable and everything else.
Yeah, no, I think so. Well, I think we came up with a great list, a wide variety of next steps and supports for her.
Yeah.
I think good, ladies.
Thank you all.
For something so overwhelming, you know, with 12 different forms.
Right.
Yeah.
This was good.
This was great. Well, thank you so much. That was it. Can you believe it? 6 weeks. You know?
Yeah, next week we're on our own, right?
Right.
We'll just PLC for fun. How are you girls doing?
Right.
Yeah. How about that?